Okay, so I'm going to try my hardest to touch on all of the kind of the key themes and the core points that Richard has talked about in conversation with David this morning, in the context of the big pieces that make a difference between a pure play sort of ClickSense cloud deployment. I'm going to sort of cover on sort of 4 areas. First off, it makes sense to give a high level overview as if I was a user. I'm going to share a demo environment very shortly on the screen. Nothing to do with hospital data. It's all made up demonstration data, but at least it'll give everyone a flavor for how Fusion Portal works and how it interacts and interoperates with ClickSense Cloud Objects. I'm really then going to focus on 3 areas. So how do you make it your own? Theming is really, really important. If something looks and feels like your world being your organization, then uptake and that adoption that Rich has talked so eloquently about, it's half the journey is making it easy for everyone to adopt, is to make it look and feel like their world. I'm then also going to go into how do you start to build a user journey with data, which is fundamentally nothing more rocket science than making your navigation work for your cohorts of users, whoever they are and whatever they're doing, from chief executive all the way down to somebody that's front of face, or maybe in Richard's case, a nurse with bed management analytics requirements, something like that. And then I'm going to finally talk about how we get one portal that works for all. Richard again touched on sort of users and groups. How do we make one portal work irrespective of the structure of your organization? So that's the objective over the next 5 or 10 minutes before I then hand back to David for live Q&A. So let me pop to here. So Fusion, fundamentally straightforward plug and play deployment for ClickSense Cloud. And if you're looking to make the leap from ClickSense on-premise to ClickSense Cloud, then maybe there's a question there that this might actually help you drive that decision to make that leap, to be able to get some operational analytics to scale out. I'm going to now log in. So we've created an organization here, a demo organization called Whizbang. It's all made up, and I'm going to log on to that now. Log in as a user, and again, as Richard says, rolling out to users, it's really getting out an email invite, and then the invite driving you straight into the software. It's directly straight into the portal without any further searching around for your analytics. So again, I'm conscious that everyone on this call today will be Click savvy, Click experts. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the first piece here, but just to give you a really quick walk around. Everything I'm going to be mainly talking about today is on the left-hand side of the screen, and on the right-hand side of the screen, it's mainly really resurfacing Click objects into the portal. And so just from a quick guided tour, you structure these these menus in this way to be able to then set it up, typically departmentally, but it can be set up in any logical order that you want. And then every time, bear with me a second, I've got a live demo situation here, reconnecting. I've had it turned on for probably half an hour or so, and it's just disconnected. Bear with me. So every time you create a top level menu structure, what we're doing is we're sharing the perspectives from all of the different content pages beneath. So in this case, imagine I'm a sales director for this imaginary organization. I get to see a snapshot of all of the different perspectives in the content pages beneath. So here I can see maybe I want to focus on why is my win probability only 47%? I was expecting it to be north of 50%. And you can either click here in any of these content or navigation tiles, or you can go straight to the relevant section of the screen. And in effect, we are resurfacing Click objects in a way that is a little bit more structured for that sort of guided navigation look and feel. And again, this is all themed and skinned is the word that we use, but skinned and connected to themes in ClickSense as well, to be able to pull this across in the most appropriate way from a look and feel perspective for your organization. This app, when I expand all of these sections, we're looking at, in this case, this demonstration, we're looking about 4 or 5 ClickSense Cloud apps that are mashed up into one solution. And at any point in time, obviously, I can come into here and I can make the typical kind of selections you would expect. It's basically Click Engine, Click API integration, and making those selections live on the screen. So that's everything sort of on the Click side. On the right-hand side of the screen is as you would expect and want it to work for that sort of guided analytics perspective. Now, making it your own, I'm actually logged in as an admin here, so I can kind of come to settings and I can start to configure this if I was rolling this out tomorrow. And you can see I've got a theme here, which is all sort of red and white. I can change my theme. I can make a different theme active in effect. And I'll just move the zoom window out of the way. I could, for example, switch to more of an orange theme. And from a theme level, it's making these changes instantaneously. It's connecting to a different skin and a different theme here. You can specify all the palettes and the color. And immediately, if I was to come back as a user and come into here for a second time, for example, I'm seeing something that's got a different look and feel that's now all orange as opposed to red. And likewise, I could come into here from an appearance perspective and maybe even change the images and the background and the favicons and all of this kind of thing. And I'm now converting my demo environment for this fake company called Whizbang, and maybe I want to switch that over to an organization. I've got another demo environment here. Switch this over to something for a company called Zephyr, another imaginary organization. If you can humor me, I'll pop the background for the Zephyr into here. I won't bother with the Favite icon. I think everyone knows that's this little icon up here in the top of the screen. And if I'm to log out and log in again, you can see instantaneously I've got a very different look and feel, and I've configured the total look and feel across the whole of this portal in a couple of really simple steps. So theming, it might sound really basic and really simplistic, but making something your own is really, really critical to broad scale user adoption. Now, second point is how do we then bring all of this together? And again, Richard very kindly said it takes about 5 minutes per page to build out. It's true. Richard's had the experience in the real world. And I'm going to just take you through that a little bit. Again, I'm logged in as an admin, so I have the ability to create content and build this content and connect to Qlik objects, all of the Qlik dashboards across your estate. I can connect to all of these, and I can I can pull in all of the objects from the applications that I want to be mashed up. In this case, I've just drilled into one particular object. And then you can assemble those objects from wherever they appear inside of your Qlik world to wherever you want them to appear inside of your Fusion world. And you assemble that with the page builder. And again, these pages, I showed you the content tiles. Every one of these, for example, you could configure it and say, when a user comes into the sales area, I want the thumbnail to look like this. I want to add a default to my logo, or I want to specify the top level most important metric to me that I want to show on the navigation screens. You can do that here, and you can configure all of the pages from a look and feel perspective. For example, let's go and have a look at some sales pages. I can say, okay, I want my top level sales screen to have a different icon. I want it to be an lens aperture instead of an arrow. I want it to be here in the menu. You can draft all of these and then publish them when you're ready. And then you can update these pages. You can build out the pages beneath in terms of the content. And then the very next time you come into the application, you can see immediately that's changed. And you're starting to build out the look and feel for every one of these pages underneath. That is a little bit more structured and a little bit more constrained deliberately, as Richard said, to make it less of a self-service objects in lots of different places without the kind of structure across lots of different apps. This is about bringing structure back to the way in which helps kind of regular organization business type users get what they need in a very short period of time. Now, the third thing I wanted to show today for this demonstration is really quite straightforward. It's only going to take a couple of seconds to show. Is really about users and groups. And again, Richard said quite rightly, getting this out to a mass audience very quickly is really, really important. You can invite users in lots of different ways. You can bulk invite. You can integrate to whatever directories services that you have, and you can also then configure the groups. Which is fundamentally, we are leveraging from everything that is already in place in your Qlik Sense cloud environment. So all of the incumbent security within Qlik Sense is prevalent here. We're just lifting and cherry picking the objects on the screen and putting them in place. But what we've got on top of all of that is the ability to turn on and turn off menus and the navigation based on different cohorts and users and groups. My very basic example here, I've created a group called No Human Resource Menu. And what I'm saying is that if these types of users log in, then I don't want them to see employee retention predictions in the main HR page, but I'm quite happy for them to see everything else. And every one of these pages can be orchestrated based on the really straightforward permissions of we're allowing this user group to view these pages, or this user group can change pages or can delete pages, or in effect remove pages from the navigation structure. So you have the sort of the content management admin type people, and then you have the ability with the standard users to be able to cherry pick which navigation sort of menu structures that you want to be able to turn on and turn off for that cohort of users. So a little bit of a drive-by shooting in terms of a demonstration, but hopefully you can see we've touched on the sort of the top sort of topics of why potentially you should consider this kind of tool as an add-on that's the icing on the cake on top of your existing wonderful ClickSense cloud environment.